Hello and welcome to Webinar 2 on Session 3. This is about the digital library. So at the end of Webinar 1, I asked you to look at cover profile A and cover profile B that went along with that fishbowl video. I know the fishbowl video did not show up too well in the last webinar, but it is also posted on the wiki, and I will probably send it to you in an email as well. Just pulling up the slide really quick. Okay, from the video, these are some of the questions that you were supposed to talk about. What did you notice about profile A? What did you notice about profile B? What strengths do you see in profile A? What strengths did you see in profile B? And for both profiles, which, if any, fields seem incomplete? Where could the contributor have included more information? And what we're going to do now is talk about the gatekeeping criteria. So let's say you are the contributor. You find a resource, you fill out the cover profile for this resource, and you submit it. What will happen then is your resource with the cover profile will go to another SNE, so another one of you, and you will be in charge of seeing if it makes it through the gatekeeping criteria. This is just the initial gate. If it makes it through, it goes on to the next reviews. If it doesn't make it through, then it gets pushed back to the contributor, and you would have, and the person who submitted the resource would have to make changes or before they could submit it again. So the gatekeeping criteria, I want you to become familiar with this. When you are the first SNE member to select a resource for review, it is your responsibility to apply the gatekeeping criteria. Applying the gatekeeping criteria requires that you evaluate the resource along with its cover profile. Take a moment to review the gatekeeping criteria. Then we are going to practice applying the gatekeeping criteria to the resource using first cover profile A. So this is just the yes/no that you would have to apply while reading the cover profile. Five minutes is definitely not the average amount of time you would spend applying the gatekeeping criteria to a resource. However, we are making some modifications based on the fact that we are not together face-to-face. You will typically spend 20 to 30 minutes applying the gatekeeping criteria. I'll give you about 5 minutes to begin to apply the gatekeeping criteria using the resource with cover profile A. And what you can do is just pause this and apply it. You can find a blank gatekeeping criteria template on the wiki. It is called Cover Profile Template and Gatekeeping Writable. It's the exact same sheet where you found the blank cover profile, but it is after the cover profile template in the PDF. So if you go farther in the PDF, you'll find the gatekeeping template. And remember that all gatekeeping criteria require a yes or no answer. Any no answer will automatically cause the software to return the resource to the contributor, and that is important to know. Okay, let's go through the gatekeeping criteria together and see if we all came to the same conclusion. So the first one, does the information in the cover profile accurately match the resource? And this one is actually no. It's because the title is too generic. The resource is tagged as a combination instructional and professional learning resource, when in fact it may be considered an instructional resource. The context in which the resource can be used is vague. The learning targets and success criteria are not stated. Remember, even if the resource does not specify learning targets and success criteria, you need to develop those and include them on the cover profile. All of the ELA strands are chosen, even though they don't all apply. If the resource applies to all grades, the contributor should select not grade specific, as opposed to choosing every grade. The resource in general is just over-tagged. All right, and then the second question, is the resource legible, viewable, and does the technology function properly? That would be yes. Is the resource comprehensible? Yes, easy to understand. Does the resource support educators and or students in using at least one of the following attributes of the formative assessment process to implement the Common Core state standards? And that is yes. Is the resource free from bias and objectionable or culturally insensitive material? For example, related to race, culture, religion, political viewpoint, gender, or socioeconomic status? And that is yes. Is the resource free of student records and other information that may allow a user to identify a specific student? Yes. Is a student available free of charge for the duration of its use? And that is as well yes. So does this resource with cover profile A meet the gatekeeping criteria, or does it go back to the contributor? And the answer to this would actually be no. It does not meet the gatekeeping criteria. It has to go back to the contributor. Remember, even if you mark one no, that makes it have to go back. It can't move on. It needs to be all yeses. In this case, the cover profile A identified the resource as a combination resource, when in fact it may legitimately be viewed as an instructional resource. If this resource passes the gatekeeping criteria with the combination identification, then the system requires subsequent reviewers to apply both sets of quality criteria. As we previously discussed, the correct identification of a resource as professional learning, instructional, or combination is crucial because it determines which set of quality criteria reviewers use to vet the resource. And we ask that you always just mark it, do instructional. We're just focusing on instructional resources. All right, and just want to reiterate the point that it is not always easy to identify the resource type, but that you should use your professional judgment and support your view by providing evidence of your line of thinking in the cover profile. And remember, just because you are learning from a resource, it isn't automatically a professional learning resource. And just a question to ask yourself, how are you using the resource? Would you have to add/embellish to make it ready for professional development? These are questions to consider. All right, cover profile B. This is also on the wiki, like I told you. So at this time, you can read through cover profile B and apply the gatekeeping criteria to it. So take a moment to do that, go through the yes and no's, and see what you come up with. Okay, so now we will apply the gatekeeping criteria to the same resource using cover profile B. And like I said, remember the blank gatekeeping, or another blank gatekeeping criteria template can be found on the wiki. Same place, you can just print it again or download it again or whatever. All right, so let's walk through this. Number one, does the information in the cover profile accurately match the resource? This one, compared to cover profile A, you notice it's a lot more, there's a lot more information, and it just more accurately matches the resource, so that would actually be yes. Is the resource legible, viewable? Yes, technology works. It's comprehensible. It does follow the attributes of the formative assessment process. Is the resource free from bias? Yes, it does. Is the resource free of student records? Yes. Available free of charge? Yes. So we got a winner. These are all yeses. So question, does this resource with cover profile B meet the gatekeeping criteria? Answer is yes. So I want to point out it's the exact same resource, just the cover profiles were a little bit different. And just because on the second one the cover profile was done more accurately, had more information, it made it so the resource went on to the next set of reviews. And the first one had to be sent back. So this is just showing you the importance of really making sure you emphasize everything clearly and that you include everything on the cover profile just so people understand it and that it makes sense. This exercise helped us see that although the cover profile is only mentioned in one small part of the gatekeeping criteria, having an incomplete or incorrect cover profile can ultimately keep a quality resource from being posted in the digital library. All right, and these were our success criteria from the Session 3 webinars. Take a few minutes to do a self-assessment about what you have learned. You may jot down your thoughts about the following questions in your notebook. How confident are you that you have met these success criteria? How would you gather evidence of these success criteria? For those criteria that you are less confident about, think of one or two next steps to increase your knowledge or understanding. And that's why we're having these next Q&A webinars, so that you can bring some of these questions so that we can help you get to where you need to be and being comfortable with all of it. And I just want to emphasize, it is okay if you are not feeling highly confident about all the success criteria at this point. Our state plan is designed to help you become more confident completing cover profiles and applying the quality criteria. And just know us state leads are here for you. We have teams we'll have you so you can email us at any time, and the more you work with it, the more comfortable you'll become with it. All right, here are some questions that you can respond to. Just please let us know if you do have any other questions. So, yeah, how did your understanding of the cover profile deepen? Which field of the cover profile do you anticipate being the most challenging to complete? What questions do you still have about the cover profile or the formative assessment process? And these are good questions to write down and bring to the Q&A session. All right, congratulations. You just have completed Session 3. Well, I guess kind of. The Q&A sessions are part of Session 3 as well. We appreciate your participation in the, that's a big word, this is from Smarter Balanced. So they're just happy with you, happy that you can help us with this, and it's just really cool that this is a tool that can be used across the state and across the nation, and just working together with other people across the nation. So yes, thank you for all you do. Thank you for your work on this, and please let us know if you do have questions. Once again, here's our contact information. And like I said before, we'll be assigning you to an SLT very soon. And once again, I should have not put this after the first one, but you can just fill this SurveyMonkey out once and for all. Just fill it out for webinar 1 and 2 together. So you just have to fill it out once. All right, thank you, and please let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day.